Thank you, Lisa Ann. My name is Kelly Ratchinsky, and I'm a technical consultant for Urban Logiq. Today, I get to talk about how smart cities can brace for autonomous vehicles. But first, I want to talk about role models. This is my dad, Kelly Ratchinsky. I am named after my father, which probably set my course in life pretty early on. My dad is an engineer. He does GIS, and he knows more about software engineering and coding than I ever will. He always encouraged me to pursue STEM and engineering alongside my mom. And I remember being 7 years old and telling my friends that I wanted to be an engineer. And I didn't really have a concept of what that meant. But you fast forward to 2013, and I graduated with my master's in mechanical engineering with a focus on autonomous vehicles and renewable energy systems. And out of school, I dove into the Gulf of Mexico working as a project engineer in oil and gas. And I had a lot of fun. I got to play with robots and solve really interesting challenges. But it didn't really speak to me. I didn't feel like I was getting to affect my community in the positive way that I had dreamed about when I was studying renewable energy systems and autonomous vehicles. So about a year ago, I quit my job and I moved to California. And I had a plan, sort of. And somewhere between the rock climbing and the snowboarding, I met Mark, who is the CEO of Urban Logiq. And really, his vision is what gets me excited about Urban Logiq. So I've joined their team as a technical consultant. Urban Logiq helps cities harness the data that they are already sitting on. And then we take data sets from our partners, like telecommunications companies and legacy automotive companies, to give cities that granular view of what's happening in real time in their cities. And then we layer our machine learning algorithms and artificial intelligence algorithms over top to give cities predictive analysis on what's coming down the road. So for example, if we wanted to build a hotel in SF on 4th Street, how does that positively affect the small businesses in that area over time? And how does that affect the traffic congestion over time? Urban Logiq is at the nexus of giving information, city insights for the future. And we see autonomous vehicles coming quickly. And other people agree. The Ptolemus Consulting Group has published a study this year around autonomous vehicle sales in the private market. So the horizontal axis here is 2015 to 2030. And when you look at the vertical axis, that's the new passenger car sales worldwide in the millions. So for those of you that can't see the legend, the lightest blue color on the bottom is showing level 1 autonomous vehicle sales. Level 1 is when you have a single feature on your car that is automated. For example, the car can take over your steering wheel and help you autocorrect and center in the lane if you start to drift. Level 2, the next step up, is indicating that you have 2 autonomous features available simultaneously. So not only can it take over your steering wheel and autocorrect, but it can also put brakes on your pedal and help you to stay an equal distance from the car in front of you. So when we look at level 2 and what's coming out right now, they're primarily safety features. So what I see in this graph is a trend of trust in autonomous vehicles, because we're starting with how can they make us safer, and then we're building on that. So level 3 and level 4, which are also prevalent here is the pivot to autonomous vehicles taking over responsibility for understanding the built environment around the car. But those sales are probably going to start hitting high numbers 2024. So what are cities doing right now to prepare? Bloomberg Philanthropies and the Aspen Institute have developed this website, which is live and continually being updated to include new cities that are coming forth with AV policy. So the blue indicators are showing cities that are forming action committees, passing legislation, having conversations around how can they incorporate AVs into their city vision. And the yellow dots are showing cities that already have autonomous vehicle pilots ongoing. But something to note, those yellow dots only started within the last 12 months. So this is happening right now, and it's growing quickly. So how can cities prepare? One main thing that cities need to be thinking about is implementing an open data program. This is going to provide your constituency with transparency and accountability in handling data. Now, this is a screen grab from the city of Surrey, Canada, which is right near Vancouver, British Columbia, where I'm from. And this is a smattering of the data sets that they have available that the public can go to and view freely. So sharing data is going to be a critical aspect of cities innovating in the future. So now let's say we're sharing our data. How can we beef up our infrastructure to handle autonomous vehicles transmitting multiple terabytes of data a day per car? Cities need to be having conversations with telecommunication companies about beefing up their cell site infrastructure. So this simple graphic is showing our connected devices, our phones and our laptops and our gaming consoles, our homes that are already connected and putting load on that infrastructure. Cities are beefing up for solely these devices. But again, petabytes of data traveling through your system, if you have a dead spot, it becomes a safety concern when we're talking about autonomous vehicles. So the last thing I'd like to touch on, something I think is very important personally, is data ownership and privacy. This is a conversation that is ongoing, and the General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR, was recently passed in the EU, and it goes into effect May of 2018. This is the first revamp of data policy in the EU since 1995. So it's due for an overhaul, and it's only taking place in the EU. Urban Logiq sees this being the new world standard for data ownership and privacy. And they have expanded the definition of what is personal data and how companies need to treat that data, i.e., they need to keep it secure. So this is just a snippet of the conversation around how we can fold autonomous vehicles into smart cities. And I'd like to encourage all of you to come out next year. Urban Logiq is a corporate sponsor for Women in Clean Tech and Sustainability, and we will be co-hosting an event that's going to be a deep dive into this topic with WCS, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you.